Hey chicks, welcome to today's episode of Fit Chicks Chat. My name is Laura Jackson. And on today's episode, we are talking about 3 ways to think about food that will support your client's weight loss goals. Now, this is something that, for a really long time, I didn't realize how much the way that we think and talk about food really affects our ability to be able to get to our goals. The way we think about food, it drives our relationship with it. So I want you to, think about maybe it's yourself, maybe it's a client. If there's been a season in your life where you have literally felt like food was your enemy. And I'm raising my hand for all of you who are listening to me because I have been there 100%. So there was a time in my life where I could not even go out for dinner to a friend or family member's house or even to a restaurant because it would cause me so much anxiety because I wasn't sure, how it was cooked, how much oil they used or butter, because back then I didn't understand that those foods are nutritionally dense foods. But, I didn't know how they were cooking it. I didn't know what fully was in it. And it would just cause me so much anxiety. So whenever I look back at that time, I think about how I thought about food was really driving this negative behavior. Because what would happen was if I did have to go out to eat at a family member's or at a restaurant, I would be so anxious leading up to it. Then I wouldn't enjoy the time at the meal with my friends and my family. Then I would come home and I would be overwhelmed with this good or bad mentality. And then suddenly, either go crazy at the gym or not eat for a period of time or go to the place of, forget it. And I'm just going to binge eat all of the things. Right. So we have to always include in our own nutrition, or if we're coaching clients, understanding what it is that we or our clients are thinking about food. So basically, a relationship with something is just your thoughts about it. So depending how you think about it is what that relationship is going to be with it. So if you think negative thoughts about food and about nutrition, then your relationship with it is going to become more negative. And then when your relationship is more negative with it, usually your habits are more negative around it as well. So I always, in Fit Chicks Academy, in our holistic nutrition weight loss coach certification, I talk constantly about the mindset and the method, the mindset and the method. There is a method when it comes to, losing weight. Of course, we have to figure out the quality of food we're eating, the quantity, the macro breakdown, being consistent, all of these things. But then there's the mindset around it. And when we start to approach each of our clients as amazing individuals and start to understand that we all have a unique relationship when it comes to our own nutrition, and it dates back, of course, to childhood, right? Whatever usually the house you grew up in or your clients grew up in really dictates a lot of their eating habits unless they've, worked on reprogramming them. And that can mean that either they are following in their family's footsteps. So, for example, if you grew up in a household that was very non-nutritionally focused, so you were eating a lot of packaged and processed foods, maybe a lot of fast food, a lot of canned foods, pre-made meals, your relationship with food and with cooking might go exactly like that. You might be repeating that in your adult life and then with your family. Or vice versa, you might have seen your family eating that way, and then you go the complete opposite, and you become focused on nutrition and learning and understanding how to actually, you know, fuel your body properly, get to your weight loss goals, or you have become a coach and you want to start to help other people do it. So it's so fascinating because everyone's is very individual. We could have two people from the exact same household who have completely different relationships with food, right? So, what I want to talk about today is 3 ways to think about food that will really support your or your client's weight loss goals. Because when we are coaching, whether it's ourselves or whether we're working with other clients, we have to understand that they have thoughts that are happening, right? They have a mindset that we have to understand what that mindset is right now, and then what that mindset has to be in order for them to be able to get to their goals. So, these are three ways that I really like to talk about food, or I like to help my clients or students learn about how to start to shift into a way of thinking that really supports not just weight loss, but a long-term positive relationship with food and with focusing on nutrition. Because it can be a slippery slope, right? It can be a very fine line between having a healthy relationship with food and nutrition and wanting to change your body at the same time, and easily going to a place of having a relationship with food and nutrition and making that really horrible and using it against yourself to beat yourself up, right? So we've got to make sure that we're using our thoughts in looking at that relationship and questioning, hey, like, what do I think about food? And do I want to keep thinking this about food? And also understanding, again, what your clients have, that dialogue in their mind, what's keeping them where they're at right now. Okay. So the first way to think about food that supports your clients' weight loss goals, and this is something, again, that I found has really worked, is shifting to thinking about food, about getting the most nutritional bang for your buck. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you might have heard me say this multiple times. I actually love this statement. So it's when you look at food, right? It's not just about what tastes good, and it's not about how many calories something has, and it's not about, is this bad or good, how we start to label food. It really is about, how does this food fuel my body? Will this food I'm eating move me towards better health, or down in the long term could move me away from better health? Now, again, we don't want to use this as a good or bad. One is, better than the other, but it just brings it into our awareness of, okay, what do I want to eat that is going to give my body the most nutrition? That's going to give me that most nutritional bang for my buck. So even when I'm deciding between two nutritionally dense foods, sometimes I just pick, I always pick the one that gives me the most nutrition. So if I'm looking at, let's say, an avocado, which is packed full of not only healthy fat, but also fiber and a ton of other vitamins and minerals that are really important to your body. Whereas I could eat something else like olive oil that would be a really great source of healthy fats, but there's no fiber in that, right? So when we're thinking about it in that way, when we start to learn how to coach in that way of, how do we coach our clients to include the most nutritionally dense foods in their diet, which are going to support their goals and help their bodies get into balance, while of course getting them to what their physical transformations are, then that's when it becomes a lot easier. Okay. So when I think about that, we want to make sure that we've got foods that will move you towards your weight loss goals, right? But also are going to support all the other areas of our body. So things like digestion, hormonal balance, helping our clients with energy, and so much more. And when we start to think about food like, okay, what foods give me the most nutritional bang for my buck? Then we start to make decisions from not a place where, oh, is this going to be, bad for my weight loss goals? Is there too many calories in this? It's like, okay, what is the food that I'm going to eat that's going to fuel my body the most? And do I want to eat that? Because I wrote a post a long time ago. I always like to follow the 80-20 rule. You know, when we label foods good or bad, or have foods completely off limit, it creates a really bad relationship with food. So when we start to understand about nutrition and being like, do I want to do this? Then we get to make the decision from an empowered, educated place, as opposed to making that decision from a place of, being like, feeling like you're going to beat yourself up if you choose the food that is quote unquote bad. Right. And also you can then make the decision of, okay, this food is more nutritionally dense. The avocado is more nutritionally dense, but do I want to eat potato chips instead? Do I want to eat the olive oil instead? Do I want to eat all these things? So you can kind of play with that. So that's my first shift that I find has been really helpful when it comes to thinking about food for your weight loss goals, is shifting to, okay, what foods will help me with my weight loss goals, but give me the most nutritional bang for my buck? And again, that's supporting the entire body and the mind, right? Food is the biggest daily thing that we consume that will either move us towards our goals or move us away from it. And that includes just overall health, longevity, all the things. The second way to think about food that really helps to support clients' weight loss goals is thinking about food as medicine. Now, our program at Fit Chicks Academy is called the Holistic Nutrition Weight Loss Coach for a reason, because it's not just about helping clients lose weight. It's about incorporating a holistic approach. It's about getting them to understand that food is so much more than just calories in. It's so much more than, something we eat for celebrations or, to soothe ourselves or whatever we use food for, right? It actually is medicine. And I truly believe we need more coaches out there because we need to educate more people on how to fuel their bodies so they can set themselves up for success for the long term. There are so many areas of health that nutrition is not included as part of the protocol. And whether you are going into surgery or you have a health condition or you're just doing preventative health care, food should be focused on not just as something that, again, fuels our body, but that is part of keeping our body thriving, keeping our mental health thriving. So what we eat can either support our health or it cannot. I always say it's either building us up or slowly breaking us down. So this is something that for your clients, as they start to shift to thinking about food as more as medicine, as again, when with number one, like getting the most nutritional bang for your buck, but then also thinking about like, okay, this food is supporting my hormones. This food is helping me to be able to, digest better. This food is feeding the happy bugs in my guts. This food is going to help to balance my blood sugar, right? All of these things start to set us up in a different relationship because we're not just looking at food as this enemy, like I was saying at the beginning. My relationship with food in the past, which was very, very bad, I felt like constant panic. We stop looking at food as this thing that either makes us gain weight or, is a negative thing and start to look at it as, what do I want to put in my body? What do I want? Like what I put in my body every day, I'm going to eat anyways. So if I focus on getting the most nutritional bang for my buck, and I look for foods too, and one of the things we include in the academy too, we talk all about different foods and what vitamins and minerals they possess and what health conditions they help to support. So it's really just shifting that perspective and being able to look at it in a different way. And I found this has been so helpful, especially because there's a lot of health conditions that make it harder to lose weight. And we talk about this in the certification, like PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, hypothyroid, estrogen dominance, insulin resistance, right? These are all health conditions that weight loss can become really challenging if we're not supporting the body. So it really is a holistic nutrition approach when we're looking to weight loss, and it's a holistic way of thinking about it too. And then my third shift about how to think about food to be able to support your weight loss goals is 1 meal / 1 day / 1 week does not determine your success. This is not a short-term gain. And with the example I like to use with my students is the idea of pulling yourself out and looking from the 10,000-foot view down. Because what happens is when our clients or you yourself, if you're listening to this as a coach or not, what happens is we tend to think that we're either on a program or off the program, right? And if we have 1 meal where we go out and we end up, completely eating pizza and ice cream and all these things we hadn't planned on eating, we tend to beat ourselves up and think that that's completely ruined our entire progress. And this was me as well, which is again why when I was giving the example about going out to eat at other people's houses, or if I went to a party or a Christmas event or something, I would just feel this complete pressure and beat myself up that I had blown everything. And then I'm like, well, what's the point anyways? Which then just, of course, the spiral starts and we're just having more and more, habits that are not in line with our goals, right? So when we look at it, when we start to think about the 10,000-foot view, which is kind of lifting out, when we're looking at the big picture, we eat, if you're going to eat 3 meals a day, we eat 21 meals in a week. 1 meal is not going to affect that entire week, right? You've got 20 other meals that you can eat more nutritionally dense. And if we were looking at it from like the 80-20 rule, right? We have quite a few meals that we could have that are not going to be quote unquote on the plan. So starting to think about nutrition and weight management as a lifelong game. Like we're not going on any more diets. Hand to heart, everyone, we're not going on any more diets. We're not going on any more short-term fixes. We're not committing for 3 months to do something. When we commit to our nutrition, we're committing to being in relationship with it for the rest of our lives. And that relate like any relationship, like a marriage, like kids, like your friends, it can go through ups and downs. It can go through times where you're just feeling like you're not connected. And then you're going through seasons where you're like, oh my gosh, like we are like besties. Me and my nutrition, me and my weight management are literally, we are in step-by-step flow. Right. So we got to get out of this mindset that we're on or we're off. And I know I keep saying that in different contexts, but when we start to look at the big picture, we're looking at a lifetime relationship. We're looking at a marriage for life with our nutrition. And we pull out to that 10,000-foot view and we look at whether it be our week or our month or our year. You know, what we do consistently is going to have the biggest impact. So if we are 80% of the time not eating nutritionally dense and 20% time we are, if we shift that to 80% of the time we are eating nutritionally dense and 20% we're not, of course we're going to see different years at the end. But not getting caught up in those little minutia, those little moments of one meal, one day, one week. Oh my gosh, it's Christmas. It's the week of Christmas. I am terrible. I suck at nutrition. I'm not even going to focus on it. Right? When we start to think about it like a marriage or, you know, a lifelong relationship, we're not jumping ship over one bad week. We're going to get back on it and we're going to put in the effort to, you know, build our meals that are balanced and support our clients and support ourselves. And that's the thing I love about learning about nutrition. I think everyone should learn nutrition skills, whether you're coaching other people or just coaching yourself, because when you understand how nutrition really works, and when you understand how to fuel your body properly, how to shift your mindset around it, you have that skill set for life. So it takes away all of this angst and drama feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to go on a diet or I need to find that next quick fix, right? This is a lifelong game. And when you have that mental shift, when you actually say, I'm no longer going to think about my nutrition just about pounds on the scale or just about, you know, trying to get to this result, then it takes off a lot of pressure and you start to allow yourself to see that it's going to shift over seasons. And of course it is, as your body changes, as your hormones change, as your you know, if different health conditions come up, if you have surgeries, emotionally what's going on, your nutrition will change to support that too, because as number 2, nutrition is also medicine. Food is also medicine. So hopefully these 3 ways to think about food to help your clients successfully get to their weight loss goals is helpful. And these 3 ways will support your journey in nutrition, right? So number 1, shifting to think about food as getting the most nutritional bang for your buck. Number 2 is that food is medicine. It is not just calories. And number 3 is that one meal, one day, one week does not determine your success. Nutrition is a lifelong relationship. Okay. So if you want to dive deeper into these skills, make sure that you check out, we have our next holistic nutrition weight loss coach certification. It's starting February 6th. So we are right around the corner. There is going to be a link that's around this video if you want more information, or you can go to fitchixacademy.com. We also have Become a Holistic Weight Loss Coach week coming up, which is a week leading up to the course starting, where you can join for free. You can come into it, check out all about becoming a holistic nutrition weight loss coach, how it all works. We have classes throughout the week, prizes. It's a ton of fun. Go to fitchixacademy.com/coach week for more information about that. And I will talk to you guys next week. Have an amazing day. Bye.